Welcome everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Erika Gelinard. I'm a product marketing manager for data and databases with OVHcloud, and I share the floor today with Bastien.
Hello. On my side, I'm the product manager for data.
So today we will discuss public databases for MongoDB. We will introduce our public cloud environment. We will deep dive a bit into public cloud databases as a complete portfolio, and then we'll look at the specificities of the MongoDB offerings. And we will finish with a demo.
Public cloud first, because it's an introduction, public cloud database, and then after focus on MongoDB. Why public cloud? Because maybe it's new for a few of you. What's a public cloud? It's a PaaS ecosystem for all your use cases. This is not one product, one service. It's a catalog of services, and it's live at OVHcloud since 6 years, I think. The most known, the most famous in the world are the one with Azure, with Google Cloud, or AWS. We have the same thing in Europe. This is nice. And of course, we have the compute since long, the storage, network, container orchestrations with Kubernetes since long. And a key brick was missing, and this is databases. And this is now live. We started with MongoDB. Many others will join the party, as you will see just after. And this is really interesting to you. So how does it work? It's not like a VPS or a bare metal server. With public cloud, what you do as a user with a control panel, what you will do is to create some projects. Inside the project, you put a payment method, for example, a credit card, a PayPal account, and inside the projects, you can put anything. You can put virtual machines, you can put database now, you can put object storage, Kubernetes. It's up to you. And you will not pay it when you start a product, but you will pay hourly, and you will pay at the end of the month for the whole project. So if it's new for you, it's a concept of public cloud. And of course, it's not only us. This is a concept of the public cloud in the world. And same as competitors, you can automate. If you don't like to click too much, you can automate with Terraform on our side and with API. Okay. So Erika, now you can dive a bit inside the public cloud databases.
Indeed. So as Bastien just mentioned, we are very proud to introduce our database as a service portfolio. So we are covering a whole lot of databases, starting of course with the most classical ones, the relational databases. We are opening in beta on Monday PostgreSQL and MySQL. We are covering also the non-relational databases. We have opened in the global availability on the 1st of October MongoDB, and that's what we discussed today. But we will also offer Redis and Cassandra, and we complement this portfolio with logs and metrics databases. We've got M3, OpenSearch, and Grafana. And for streaming and ingestion, we offer Apache Kafka. So as you can see, this is the portfolio, and we are covering a lot of databases. And the idea is really to enable you to use as many of them and feel free in your usages. So why would you use public cloud databases? We know that it's taking a lot of time to provision databases. So with this public cloud services, we enable instant provisioning. And of course, the main advantage for you is to have no infrastructure management. And this will save you a lot of time. For example, one of our customer estimates that it's about 20% of its time that has been saved using this kind of managed offering. The third point we really want to raise today is that it's key to have security and high availability ensured for your data. Data is core to many businesses, and you want to make sure that that your databases are managed properly. Of course, you don't necessarily have thousands and thousands to spend on this. And what's really interesting with our offerings is that they're cost effective, and they're about 30% less than competitors, but they're also cost predictive. We have a very simple, very transparent pricing, so you can really know what you're going to pay at the end of the month. And last but not least, as you know, OVHcloud is a European cloud provider. We are the only leader today on the European market to come with such a large portfolio of databases as a service for you. And this will enable you to really make sure that you're GDPR compliant, that your data is protected, and that you benefit, that you will avoid any vendor lock-in. So this is really the choice that will give you the most freedom in the long run. Now, if we look a bit more into details at what it means to have managed databases. So today, when you manage your database on-premise, you have to take care about everything, ranging from setup, observability. You need to scale your infrastructure. We mentioned high availability and security that are on your side. The backups can be really a pain point, and something that is quite time consuming. And of course, so we mentioned installation, updates to take care of, and the OS to take care of. So everything is managed by you today. What we want to propose you today is to have all this infrastructure management handled by our experts, and you will be freed, as we mentioned, from all these time-consuming and complex operations. You may or may not have the database administration skills within your teams, and we guess that your developers and your DevOps don't necessarily have the time to care about these kind of tasks. And what is the conclusion? It means that for you, you'll have a lot of free time to focus on your core business and your added value. So now let's dive a bit into the offerings on themselves.
Thank you, Erika. So for the offers, what we have built is to provide you the offers with 3 service plans: Essential, Business, and Enterprise. For MongoDB, Essentials and Business are already there, and Enterprise offer will come at the beginning of the next year. Every time it's managed services, but the first one, the use case for the Essential offers, is more for development and test. In fact, it's the MongoDB community license, and there is no HA, no high availability, which means the service is on one node. If the node is failing, there is no node taking the service. So the service is backed, the service is managed, but it's for development and test. If you want more features, you can level up to business. Business is made for pre-production, for business production, still with the community license. So the MongoDB has 2 licenses, and this one is a community, the first one, the standard one. But now it's minimum with 3 nodes by default, 3 virtual machines, still auto backups, but it's 7 days retentions. And for the network, we'll have public and private network, which means if you know VH, how does it work? We have the public network, which is internet, and we also have private network, which is virtual rack, VRAC. For this kind of offers, we will have SLA up to 99.9. Then a bit later, so it will be the next year, We will provide also MongoDB enterprise licenses. So it's a license who will allow you to perform some use cases such as IoT or big data, because you will have more features for the security. You will be able to plug it to a KMS to encrypt your data at rest. You will have point-in-time recovery. You will have the BI connectors, allowing you to plug BI tools to MongoDB directly. And of course, you will still have the managed service, the HA, automatic backups, public and private data. So every time you pay per hour, every time for the pricing, the network traffic is included in and out. The logs are included, the metrics are included, and the backup are including based on the retention time shown here, 2 days, 7 days, 30 days. Erika, can you mute yourself, please? Thank you. Let's deep dive a bit into the features. First, the provisioning. If you click, and I will show you a live demo just after, on the control panel saying, I want to launch a database, the cluster will be deployed by us, and it will take a few minutes. So it's instant provisioning, and once it's up, it's ready to use. And once it's up, you will have other features to scale. For example, you will be able to add or remove nodes for horizontal scaling. You will be also able to upgrade your service to another plan. So if you are in Essential, you will be able to go in Business. And if you are in Business, you will be able to go in Enterprise. And you can also increase the size of your nodes. Imagine you took some nodes with 7 GB of RAM, and it's a bit small for you. You can say, okay, I want to increase my RAM amount, and you take another level. And with this level, we will add you some performance, with do some compute. It will be done without any downtime. So the operation is made by us. You don't need to scale your cluster yourself. Instant provisioning and easy scaling. Second topic, high availability. How does it work? Again, this is for business and enterprise plans. For Essentials plan, it's only one virtual machine, so you don't have this kind of high availability. When you have your application, usually, when you discuss with your database, you have operation to read and operation to write. This is the arrows here. Every time it will be inside the primary node, which is in fact the master, and the primary node will replicate the data in all the nodes inside the cluster. It's called a replication set in MongoDB, and your data will be the same in the secondary nodes and all the secondary nodes. So it will be some clones. And if one node is missing, they will discuss all together and they will elect another node to take the role of primary. It's automatic failover. It's a classic function and features of replica set of MongoDB. It's not a feature made by OVHcloud. And this is the first thing for high availability. Secondly, we perform backups every day, and the backups are made by OVHcloud. We encrypt the backups and we store them outside the region, which means, for example, if you take a cluster in France, the backup will be pushed, for example, in Germany. If you take a cluster in Poland, the backups will be in UK. It depends. It's offsite backup every time. Some customer will ask it, so let me tell you, can we deploy a cluster across multiple regions, multiple data centers? Today, no, we cannot. It's planned. We want to provide that. It will be done next year. So far, the cluster is inside one data center. Same as some users may love to use the sharding features of MongoDB, the fact to split your data across multiple clusters. It will be there once we will have the enterprise offer. So far, this is not possible. Observability tools. I will show you live just after, but again, we have live logs inside the control panel. So you click on logs tab and you will see live logs of your cluster, allowing you to diagnose an issue very easily. And same for the metrics like the CPU usage, disk usage, read and write operations, networks are directly shown in the control panel. And what we want to achieve next year, it's to allow you to expose those metrics to third-party tool. Imagine you already have a Datadog account, a Grafana or Graylog system somewhere else, and you want to push data from this kind of services into your existing platform. This is what we want to achieve next year. End-to-end security and compliance. As said by Erika, we are in OVHcloud, which is a sovereign public cloud powered by OpenStack. I got the question, so we are moving to OpenStack Stein version. And the first thing to understand is that the roots, the foundation of the cloud is open source. And on top of that, we deploy services. And when we deliver services to you like databases, by default, the database will be closed to anyone, which means no one can connect to the services. What you will have to do is to allow one IP, 100 IP, multiple IPs, so to connect, so it's called ACL. You will have the possibility in the control panel to say this IP, I will authorize this IP of my server, of my virtual machine, to connect to the MongoDB database. And all the information, all the flows of data will be secured with SSL protection. And all the data inside your database will be encrypted on the disk with a Linux feature called LUKS. We want to increase the level of encryption with something called a KMS, allowing you to manage your keys. We need a KMS in the public cloud for that, and it's planned for the next year. Now, the pricing. Again, when we discuss about pricing, if you know the offers from Amazon, Google, and stuff like this, or Atlas, here it's a bit more easier to understand and to compare. What we include in the prices is the service management, licenses of MongoDB. Again, they have licenses for MongoDB community and licenses for MongoDB enterprise. The node resources, which mean CPU, RAM, and storage, is for you, is dedicated to you. It's not something that we will share in best effort with other customers. In and out network traffic, automatic backups, logs, and metric. If you take the first example, essential cluster with one node, it's 74 euros per month for the managed MongoDB. For business, as you can see, the price starts with 225 euros. And for enterprise, since we need to include the price of the license, it's a bit more expensive. So it's 1,659 euros per month. The prices are shown per month, but of course you can keep it for 1 hour if you want to, and you will pay for 1 hour. The price will be shown in the control panel per hour. If you want to try it yourself, you can in the control panel for sure. And if you want to use it for a bit more than 1 hour, you can use a voucher called MongoDB. You go in the control panel public cloud voucher, and you can add this voucher in the bidding part, and you will be able to test MongoDB offers for up to 75 euros. So we discussed about public cloud, about the MongoDB offers. What are the use cases with MongoDB? If you are not familiar with that, MongoDB is, let's say, a flat data scheme. It's like a JSON. It's compared to classic MySQL or PostgreSQL or relational databases, where in fact tables with column, lines, with relations everywhere. Here, it's a flat mode, which means your data is in kind of file, a text file, and you can put some document inside. You can put unstructured data. It's perfect for few use cases. For some others, it's not very interesting to work with MongoDB. And the major one are explained a lot more in the website of MongoDB himself. If you go on mongodb.com/use cases, you will see multiple use cases and case studies. But to simplify, the first usage we see is when you want to personalize the user experience of your customers. When you want, for example, to achieve some customization on a website. If I am Bastien, I'm going to the website of OVHcloud, I don't see the same thing as Erika, because they have a lot of parameters, a lot of data and insight on my side, allowing them to customize the menus and maybe the ads, also stuff like this. Second one is single view. We use MongoDB to aggregate a lot of heterogeneous data. For example, Google Analytics, Twitter's sales forecast, and we push everything all together in MongoDB because MongoDB is really, really flexible for that. And after, we can create some views like dashboards, stuff like this from MongoDB. So MongoDB can be seen like a data lake or data warehouse where you push all your source of data and you put it directly. Third one is IoT. It explained by themselves. It's a lot of features for IoT and series in MongoDB. Of course, it's also used in combination with Node.js for web backend, and also for real-time analytics when you want to perform your streaming, live streaming, and stuff like this. So MongoDB is, again, really flexible and really performant in time of latency when you do your request because it's flat. It's not for all the use cases, but it's really useful for a few of them. And Erika will show a real one with Combigo. Erika?
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Bastien. Yes, we wanted to highlight this customer case. So we have a customer called Combigo.com. So it's a French startup that is dedicated. That is a search engine for travels, and their challenge is really to aggregate and scrap a vast amount of data every day to offer the cheapest combination of tickets to go from one point to another one in Europe, but also the greenest way. So an interesting business model. And if we move to the next slide, we'll dive in a bit into their challenges. So this is a data intensive business because their core business is really to scrap a lot of data. So today they have 400 to 500 million documents on MongoDB, and they have about 3,000 to 4,000 queries per second. So you see, this is quite a vast amount. So obviously, what they needed from us, OVHcloud, is the ability to scale the infrastructure as fast as their business is growing. So this business has started about 2 years ago, and they had to and the volume of their data was multiplied by 10. And what they are looking for in terms of benefits is really this agility, but also the simplicity of not managing the infrastructure themselves, because they used to do it on dedicated servers. And the last thing they were looking for was the reliability of a managed service. And that's what that's exactly what the CTO and co-founder Vincent El-Khatib was explaining, is that he used to manage the MongoDB databases by himself, and he didn't really have the time to do it properly, and had some outages sometimes and couldn't access his data. And now with this managed offering, he can access, he can first have the databases provision in one click. He doesn't have to worry about backups, which was really a pain point for him. And he is sure that the infrastructure can scale as fast as he needs.
Exactly. So heterogeneous data, vast amount of data, and MongoDB was perfect for that. We have plenty of use cases. Again, the website of MongoDB also is a really good source of information. Don't hesitate to have a look. And if you want to see a live demo about a use case, you can subscribe, and it will be at the EcoX experience of OVHcloud in November with one of my colleagues making a demo. Speaking of demo, let's check for real how it looks. We'll just answer a few questions because it's related to the features. All the features shown before for the next year is for all the plans, not only for one, except when it's related to the license of MongoDB Enterprise. For example, PI tier is only for Enterprise, but the other thing is for everyone. And yes, we have SLA on business. It's 99.9. Sorry if there is a typo on the slide. So no SLA on essentials, SLA on business and enterprise. Okay. And for the encryption, it's not encryption at rest, it's encryption in the disk. If we want to have, let's say, live encryption at rest, we will need to have the KMS, and it will be done once we will have the enterprise offers, not before. Perfect. I will try to share my screen, but not this one, but my Firefox one. Let me try to do it. Can you see it? Erika, can you see my screen? And my data project?
Yes, indeed.
Perfect. So if you're not familiar again with public cloud, this is a public cloud. Public cloud is a project. So my project is called my data project. And inside my project, I can perform multiple things, but for sure, I can buy some product, launch some product, compute instances, storage, block storage, object storage. And now this is new databases, but also network stuff such as load balancer, containers such as Kubernetes clusters, AI and machine learning. If you want to discuss about that, don't hesitate. I'm also, and Erika is also on this part. Big data, and at the end of the menu, you will be able to control your users and the billing. If I go back to databases, up, what I have is a view of the services up and ready running on my project. For instance, I have 5 services: MongoDB, MySQL, PostgreSQL, Redis. I see the service plan, the node template, so the amount of compute, RAM, and storage I have per node, the location, the amount of node of the status. If I want to create a new service, I just have to click on the Create a Service here, and I can now select what I want. For example, let's take MongoDB. I can select the version. Version 5.0 is in the roadmap. It will be for the next month. It will be before December. I can select the solution, essential or business. Again, enterprise offer will be for the next calendar year. So let's take a business one. I have the price shown here. It will start at 0.31 euro per hour. I can select a location: Germany, France with Gravelines, London, and Poland with Warsaw. We also have BHS in the Canadian control panel. It will be shown there very, very soon. Let's take Germany today. Then after, I can select the node template, the amount of RAM and disk and CPU. I cannot choose the amount of nodes. By default, this is 3 nodes. During the launch, it's a fixed amount. And once my cluster is ready, I will be able to scale horizontally by adding or removing nodes. But it will be a minimum of 3 nodes. This is a minimum of nodes required to work correctly with a replica set with MongoDB. Then after, I can configure a name, up, webinar. I can select public or private network. I can have a summary. So MongoDB 4.4, business, 3 nodes. I will pay this amount of money per hour. If I want to automate everything, I have an example with API. So with this kind of API, if you code something with this kind of settings, you will be able to perform the exact same task if you want to automate. And once I'm okay with the summary, I click on Create. OVHcloud will receive your request to deploy a cluster, and it will take up to 10 minutes to deploy, depending of the node size and depending of the selected data center. Once the cluster will be ready, I will go inside another one. For example, the one I started yesterday, Mongo webinar. Once your cluster will be in status running, you can play with it. What does it mean? You will be able to configure it, and you will be able to create users, to see your backups, to authorize some IPs. So on the first page, what you see is your general informations. Your cluster is like this. You can add nodes here. By clicking here, you can add nodes directly, and you will be able to build this amount of money for your cluster. You can upgrade your node template. What does it mean? It means selecting a higher level of RAM, CPU, and storage if you are feeling a bit small on performance. You can also find your information of connection. This is the official MongoDB. This is not a fork like Amazon Document DB or like either with Cosmos DB. This is the official one. We are 100% compliant with the MongoDB documentation. So it's classic service URI connection. You will need, of course, to create a user and a password to connect. you can manage your users, you can see your maintenance slot and the authorized IP. To create users, it's in the other tab called users. I have one user now. I can reset the password if I want to, or if I can create new users. Up, Bastien, I can select some role based on the official MongoDB roles. I will create a user, and that's it. The user will be created with this kind of password. You have to, of course, copy it and keep it in the safe place, because OVHcloud don't store the password. We do not store the password, so it's just shown once here. And if you are losing it, of course, you can reset your password here. Backups are here. I have with business mode 7 days retention. I will see the backups here, and what is really nice feature is that the backups we can restore in place. So I will erase and overwrite my current data, but I can also duplicate, which is a fork of my data in another service. So if I click on duplicate, I will not overwrite my existing cluster. I will be able to create another one with the same data, same rules, same authorized IP, same users. This is really nice when you want to perform a check on a new version, if you want to pre-production with your data, or just to check something in your data you want to modify, or to check if 7 days ago, for example, you have something which is missing today. So those features are by default. And as you can see, the backups here are located in Gravelines, where my cluster is in fact in Warsaw. So my cluster is in Poland and my backups are in France. It's offsite backups. Then after I have the authorized IPs, here it was for the test, so I added let's say it's a wildcard IP. When I authorize this kind of IP, it's in fact adding any IPs. But of course, usually what you do is you find the IPs of your services, your servers, your laptop, if you want to connect to your cluster, and then after you add your IPs here. I will put a fake IP up, and I will call it laptop, and this IP will be now authorized to connect. Of course, they need still a user and the password, but at least the flow will be authorized. Logs are live in the log tab. We show the last 1,000 lines of logs. You don't have the ability for now to export the logs. Again, it's planned for the next calendar year to export something like that. And for the metrics, same. You have the metrics tab just after, when you can see your CPU usage for each node. So you can select one node if you want to check if everything is going well. You can select, of course, the period of time. You can see the disk usage in percent, the operation per second read and writes, and the network flows for each node, receive and send. Again, everything is included in the price. It's quite pretty straightforward. If you pay the price shown first, you don't pay anything else, which is important when you are moving to the cloud to have some predictive cost. When I'm here, what can I do now? If I don't want anymore my cluster, I can, of course, delete a cluster. I have a button here, delete. If I do that up, I will be billed only for the time my cluster was up. It's not the time the cluster was used. If you don't connect to the cluster, still it's taking resources from OVHcloud. So you will pay for that. So you check the creation date, and you will pay, for example, for 2 days if it was up and running during 2 days. And you will find your billing in the billing control here, where you will see the database in your billing control, and you will be billed at the end of the month. And again, if you want to try it, we have a credit and voucher just here. You can add a voucher here, use a voucher, you put MongoDB, and you will have a voucher available to test the database product. We are compliant again with all the tools from MongoDB. One useful tool is called MongoDB Compass. MongoDB Compass is a tool, let's say a desktop tool to connect and manage your clusters. If you take the string connections from the control panel and you push it in a MongoDB Compass and you want to connect, you click on connect, and you will see directly your data. You will be able, for example, it was a small test. Can I share my test? I will try to share my code up. Where is bracket? Up. It's a test where I add in a small collection data, and inside are various objects. And inside my object, I can interact with them. And Compass is a tool where you can, in fact, interact with everything directly in let's say a friendly way, because it's a clean interface where you can do everything with a UI like this, or you can do it with the CLI directly. So it's really useful, and it's fully compliant with OVHcloud because we are one of the few delivering you the real MongoDB experience. This is not a fork again. This is the real MongoDB licenses, community, or enterprise licenses in the future. And we work with MongoDB for that. We are benefits from all their tools for deployment, for operation. It's a partnership. It's more than just providing offer, it's a partnership. Same for their consulting possibilities. We work with them. We fine-tune the services with them, and it's really fun and encouraging for the future to work with them like this. So I will go back to the slides. Slides will be shared, and you will also have the videos of the what I have done if you want to replay it to at home, or why not inside the slides. And if you want to find more informations, we have this webinar, and also we have the website where we show the offers in French, English, Spanish, Italian, everything. You go on public cloud database and you will see all the offers and the prices. We have the official documentation explaining you how to connect with PHP, Python, Compass, CLI. It's up to you how to troubleshoot, how to understand the offers. And you can discuss with us because we are trying a new tool. It's called Discord. We have a Discord channel where we discuss with customers about your need, about your roadmap. So I'm on it. I'm Bastien on Discord if you want to join us. Erika is here also. So don't hesitate to join. I will push the invitation in the link after. Erika, I think we have a lot of questions to answer, right?
Indeed, we have lots of them. So let's take one. Will it be possible to download backups?
So there is two kinds of backups. There's backups made by OVHcloud, automatic backups, and manual backups performed by you. For the one made by OVHcloud, not for now, and this is not planned. Backups are encrypted by us. So if maybe we allow you to download backups, then you will be unable to decrypt them. So what you can do, if you want more backups, you can perform the classic operation of MongoDB, like Mongo dump and Mongo restore, allowing you to backup and purge the backups on the hard drive and another location and other cloud providers. But you have to do it manually. Another one?
Yes, there's another one. Is it yet possible to export the logs?
No, not yet. We cannot export the logs today. If I go back to the slides before, again, we today have logs, operation, and metrics inside of OVHcloud. Metrics is end of life. We know that. We had an offer called the metrics at OVHcloud. What we want to do is to be really open. We want to allow you to download the logs and the metrics of each services with a token. It's planned for the beginning of the next year, and also we want to allow you to add them in other tools of OVH. For example, let's take MongoDB. We take a cluster of MongoDB, we take the logs, and we push them in OpenSearch, which is Elasticsearch fork. By doing that, by buying two services, you will be able to use managed services for logs and metrics and keep the full control of your data. So far, no, but yes, this is planned, and this is more than requested from us, as a product manager, so no worries.
Then we have a question: why move a DB hosted on Mongo to OVHcloud? I may take this one. Well, the first reason is really to have to benefit from having a compliant and European-based provider, and of course we provide a fully managed service, and we've seen what it includes. It includes a lot of tasks that you won't have to perform on your side. So for you, it means time saved. It means more efficiency. It means also cost predictability and data protection. So that's it for me. Do you want to complement, Bastien?
Yeah, let's say to be more, practical oriented. If you do it yourself, you will install MongoDB, let's say on Debian or Ubuntu. It's a software, it's a your operating system to maintain. So it's upgrade and updates to make, patch to create. Same for MongoDB. MongoDB has some versions, some patch to do. It's time consuming for real, and also to do it in state of the art, it's not so easy. And again, same for the backups. To create backups, okay, create a task, it's okay, but we do more than that. We test the backups. We ensure that the backups are, let's say, sorry, I'm looking for my words, are relevant and can be used, that they are not corrupt. We also perform the replication of data with high ability. It's hard to put in place something like this for you. And we automate a lot of tasks for observability tools, scaling, and security. If just the fact to create some ACL to be sure that you will not have a breach in your system, it's really hard. On our side, our infrastructure is audited and pen tested by professionals every time. And we try to level up the standards more and more with European and worldwide certifications such as ISO, such as Secnum Cloud, such as HGS. For now, it's not here. We have the ISO certification. We have HGS for the whole public cloud as an ecosystem, and public cloud database will be soon in HGS. This is not the case today. We have everything to be compliant. I got a question about that. But so far, for example, for medical stuff, it will be the case, but it's not the case today. It will be. We have everything to put it as a certified solution for HDS. Okay, I see some others. I can see other. Can I switch off the service? For example, I share the service. I put it in pause mode, let's say, and I don't pay for that. No, you cannot, because when you do that, in fact, you will still book some resources on our side. So today, so far, we are not doing some shelving. Do we have tools for migrating system to another DB? Yes, and this is official tools from MongoDB. We, again, are a cloud provider, and we provide the official license and official software from MongoDB. So if you find somewhere in the web a tool allowing you to migrate to MongoDB software, then you will be able to use it. And same for consulting firms, same for service providers. There will be, if they know how it's work with MongoDB, it will work with them also with OVHcloud. And on the case of OVHcloud, we have a service called Professional Services. When we do have experts trained by MongoDB themselves, explaining you how to do that. Of course, you have to pay for that. You pay per day, if I'm correct, and they will lead you, and they will take you by the hand to perform your migration if you need some help. Other questions? Would you recommend object storage for storing documents? So the question is, what can we store in MongoDB, and is it better than object storage? It's not. It's really difficult to understand without any, let's say, a lot of missing information about the use cases. Object storage, it's a storage feature where you put data. Then after you have to request it, you have to store it, you have to make some queries to say, okay, I want this kind of images. And MongoDB is a database management system. It's more than just storage. So it depends on what you do. It depends on the upper layer we will have, it's if it's a software showing you the data, for example, for I don't know, for radiology office, if they have software, maybe they will be compliant with MongoDB and not with object storage. So it depends of the use case, it depends of software used, and also it depends of your skills. If you are not confident with MongoDB, why not go on object storage with other tools? It really depends, and sorry for that. We have also solution architects, and it's hard to understand with only if only 2 minutes. Sorry for that. Other questions? Can we modify the MongoDB file, for example, to custom the file? No, you cannot. You are not administrator. We are. It's a managed services, so we do a lot of things instead of you. As you can see, this is the blue rectangles, but of course, for that, we need to industrialize our process, and we need to be, let's say, in a template. We will allow some advanced parameters, not, let's say, configuration, a free configuration of this kind of file, but we will allow some advanced parameter. And don't hesitate to discuss with me on Discord, for example, or on Twitter, on Bastien OVH, to see exactly what parameter and which one are the most requested from your side. Do we have other questions? Do we have a plan of replacement of metrics and provide logs and metrics managed by OVHcloud? Yes, indeed. We have two things. We have managed services for logs and metrics. M3DB is for metrics, OpenSearch is for log, it's Elasticsearch fork, and we have Grafana for visualization. When you will take this kind of services, it will be, let's say, a cluster for metrics, a cluster for logs, where you will have a fixed amount of nodes, fixed amount of RAM, CPU, and storage. If you want something, let's say, more transversal, something where you pay as you go, you don't care if you put 1 GB of 1 TB of logs, something that can be, let's say, really when you don't see the infrastructure, not even the nodes. We still have something for the logs. The logs offer is still there, and it's not planned to remove it. And for the metrics, we had something, it's end of life, and we are thinking about solutions to replace it, but it's not so easy. It's hard to find the standard features, the standard in the market to provide it to you with auto-scaling, let's say. So yes, we want to provide it, but the solution is still in a ready phase. I hope I answered correctly the question. Do we have other question, Erika?
No, I don't think so.
Yes, we have. Can we have ETA for GA for managed database like MySQL? Yes. For each database, we are in free beta today: Kafka, PostgreSQL, MySQL, and Redis. The beta is free. Don't hesitate. Even if you are here for MongoDB, don't hesitate to test the others. And the beta will last until the end of January. At the end of January, you will receive an email saying, hello, you are using services today. If you want to keep them, fine, keep them, don't touch anything. And at the end of the month, so in February, you will pay for that. So the GA will be, if I'm correct, at the end of January. And if you want to stop the service, just go in your control panel, stop the service, delete them, and you will not pay for anything. So the GA for everything in beta here will be for end of January. If this is an estimation, again, the real date will be communicated, I think, in the beginning of January. Question from Gerald: no fear of losing data, and like last time with Strasbourg? Yes, we have fear of losing data. It's not a pleasure to lose the data center or the whole network. Again, we understand it's not something we are really happy, and we are learning from our issues and failures. And for that, it's exactly what we have done to avoid a kind of Strasbourg effect. Each service is across one data center, and the backups are outside the data center in another region. So if we lose, for example, a Strasbourg data center, your backups will be in another place, allowing us or allowing you to take back your service with your data and to recreate and restore a new service with your data. This is the first part. Second part, we wanted to be more, let's say, transparent about what we do and what you do and what you should need to do as a customer. If you go on docs.ovh.com, which is our main page for documentation, I can show it live if I have my screen. Yes, let me check directly. I have made this kind of matrix with our, let's say, our quality team. We have something called a responsibility model. It's a RACI matrix, a responsibility model between us and between you, because you have tasks to do, and we explain everything what you need to do. And for example, for backups, we say that yes, we do backups, but you have also your responsibility. If you want more, if you want something more resilient with extra backups, you will need to ensure something like this. So don't hesitate to check this kind of matrix where we explain what we do and what you can do. And for example, for the migration, the transfer of data, you are responsible. It's some kind of statements for this kind of things. Yes, we are fearing the loss of data. That's why we are doing our best to put the backups outside. And also, we want you to understand your role as a customer. The cloud is not magic. The cloud is not all in one every time. You also need to take your responsibility based on the risk, and you need to balance your needs with your business. And of course, we want to help you on that, and we want to provide you the best tools and the best product to help you on that. And I think
another question: which versions of MySQL will be supported?
It's version 8 so far. So only the 8 so far is provided. The last one. And MongoDB, a question from Orlando. MongoDB is not in beta anymore. The MongoDB was in beta during 3 months. It was 4 months, June, July, August, September, and it was in GA end of September. So now you have to pay for MongoDB. And again, you have a voucher called MongoDB. If you enter this kind of voucher in the public cloud, you will have a free 75 euros to test it. So you have to pay for MongoDB. Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you.